Shalom. This is Mary Omni from the World Government House of King David, Holy Covenant Constitutional Enforcer. I'm the woman of Galatians 4:4 and the woman of Revelations 12. Please refer to your Bible. And all I ask you to do is consider that I am who I say I am. I'm the mother of the New Jerusalem, and I'm the mother that gave birth to newborn King Emmanuel, February the 15th, 2011. This is a Republic Notice. President Obama is anticipating a mission impossible. What is the mission impossible? Right now, it looks like it's impossible for blacks to wake up and retrieve him. Blacks waking up will be the God's awakening. He is the bridge. The bridge port must be retrieved by blacks awakening. They have to cover him on all sides, north, east, south, and west in the whole of the United States. They have to get involved in domestic policies. They have to get involved in the fiscal cliff. They have to get involved in gun control. They have to get involved in the deficit, because blacks are not debtors. They are non-consenters in the Constitution, and they are arguing over black Americans' wealth to cover their debts. The Constitution, through the James Monroe and to the Monroe Doctrine, non-consents and nullify any constitutional wealth, which all American wealth and all corporations that was formed on American land, birthrights, 14th Amendment, personhood, all American agencies, all American foreign aid, everything by the Monroe Doctrine is non-consented to be part of any global. He forbade the New England and the European and all Europe nations from having any say-so in our state laws, policies, wealth, or anything American. And when blacks was put into the Constitution, they sealed that as non-consented. So that means the Monroe Doctrine cannot be tampered with. The Monroe Doctrine cannot be tampered with. Europeans have no right. The world have no right to American wealth. If our American wealth has been embezzled and larcenied around the world, we still own it worldwide. There is going to be only one government, and that's the King David government ruled by King Yahshua. It's going to be the monarchy, and I'm going to be the queen of that monarchy, because my son will rule America with an iron fist and all other countries, because the Monroe Doctrine and the Bill of Rights has been non-consented ever since non-consenters became legalized in the Constitution in 1868 as legal constitutional citizens, because 3/5 could not consent. God, people inherit. We do not consent. We inherit. And even President Obama wrote a paper in college that constitutional wealth, the constitutional writers had nothing in the Constitution about distribution. So whatever they talk about, the 1% wealthiest, blacks own all that wealth. Blacks own all that wealth, own all the corporations, because all of them contract with our U.S. corporation, which is also non-consented, meaning it belongs to constitutional non-consenters. Our U.S. corporation is the mother mule that all corporations are subservient to, answer to, which means we own the mother mule, and we own everything and everyone who contracts with that U.S. corporation mother mule. And that's everybody from the United Nations to India to China to all foreign nations to Pakistan to Israel and everything. This is King Yahshua takeover. And guess what? This is the takeover, okay? We always owned it. We always owned it. We owned it from the beginning, and we're going to own it from the end. We let you tarry and play in your dung contracts and abomination, thinking you're going to overthrow God's holy covenant called the Constitution, just because the blacks was in there and you propaganda through through television a whole bunch of hate and stratified it into 1 month and stratified the constitutional caucus to a black caucus in districts, and they haven't got sense enough to wake up. But I'm telling you, black American, wake up. If the black caucus don't wake up, move them out of the way. I want the Samuel Jacksons in there. I want the Ice Cubes in there. I want the Will Smiths in there. I want people from the churches, the regular people in there, to go out there in a big deliberation and let them know this is your property. It ain't no such thing as fiscal cliff constitutionally, because all constitutional wealth is non-consented, and the Constitution has nothing to do with all these foreign invaders calling themselves U.S. citizens. You're not constitutional citizens. You may be U.S. citizens in your squad in illusion and delusions, but you're not constitutional citizens. You are worldwide debtors, and the Constitution has been cut off from you since 1870. So you have nothing to do with our Constitution. And your debt is your debt. It has nothing to do with constitutional wealth. The true constitutional America is not involved with no global worldwide debt. Global worldwide debt is their wealth. All the Constitution holds is wealth, honey. It doesn't hold any debt. All the Constitution contract, which is the supreme contract of the world that rules the U.S. corporation, all that owns is wealth, because the U.S. corporation is the mule that came to blacks with the 40 acres, which the 40 acres is now more than 25,000 acres apiece, and the U.S. corporation only contracts to shit out debtors to make sure they don't touch our constitutionality. Our constitutional wealth is Fort Knox. All our human capital investments of 400 years is Fort Knox. Is wealth on top of wealth on top of wealth on top of wealth. No debt. Debt-free wealth leverage waged by black Americans, wealth investment inheritance all around the world. So they got President Obama playing these games about the fiscal cliff because the gods are still sleeping. He needs to be retrieved because right now he's just pushing dung and playing in dung with them. And if you don't retrieve him, he's going to become a clay of dung. You better retrieve that man. He's going to become a clay of dung because he's playing with them who don't have no constitutionality, and he know it because he wrote a paper in college and said the constitutional wealth had no distribution. So he knows he's playing with dung contractors, and he's waiting for your retrieval. He can't tell them. They'll blame him. You got to cover him on all corners. He was the bridge for you to wake up and cover him. Retrieve him from these hijackers. All of them are hijackers, and their masters is falling. It's 2012 December. Their masters, the Dracons, are falling. They all hijackers. The UN know it. They all running from underground cover. They all trying to grab. We own all the corporation, all the wealth, all the foreign aid. Any party took our foreign aid knew the caveat emptor of a slave history of America. Therefore, the buyers beware. When they took it, they consented that they wanted to participate in inalienable rights infringement benefits. And therefore, a whole constitutional ownership lien is on anybody that took foreign aid, from Canaan to Pakistan to Israel to India to China to anything. China has debtors, but it's not no constitutional debtors. Your debtors belong to the UN with you, China. You work that with your Babylon mother whore, because guess what? We own the mother whore, and we set her up for you to contract with China, with your yellow Illuminati and your Aryan Brotherhood Illuminati and all your Illuminatis, all y'all illuminated and dung. Yeah, and you got these delusional calcified pineal glands running around talking about they Israelites like they gonna be Jacob with a pineal gland. It clearly said Esau was Esau, the Edomite, so how the hell they going to be Jacob, which is Israelites? They ain't got no pineal gland functioning. Get the heck out of here. These are some delusional people all over the world. It's time for them to go back in the caves. But before they go back in the caves, they understand that they don't own Social Security. It's time to stop pretending that this debt belongs to the Constitution. The constitutional wealth will not continue to cover this debt. The constitutional non-consents debt in it. It has no debt, and it only has constitutional citizens and the Ephraim heirs. And the Ephraim heirs are usually children born from black women with Gentile men. That's the majority of them. And then it's the writers and the reconstructionists and the other ones who God chose to write his document and write his people up as a nation, who've been a nation since 1866. Black men who father children with all these other women, he is lost his inheritance. Read Malachi 2:11 cutoff. He decided that he wanted to run with the Nephilim daughters and Nephilim children and run with some foreign wounds and foreign gods. So he cut himself off, and so God sifted all the rotten ones out the way, which is these black men running with Hispanics, Asians, whites, everything. They're the rotten ones. Like the Quincy Jones, they sifted out of the way. They will not be part of the new kingdom. They will be the man that we know that we have to do better in creating. He is not one of us. And the reason a black woman can have different men is because all this delusion about equality, she's the primordial womb. So she gave birth and she has the woman seed in her, which means that she have a covering for the devil seed. But when a black man run into all these women don't have no covering for the devil seed. So therefore he creating devils, and he done created a lot of them that holds his oppression. Most of these women done voted to put him in jail, get him shot in the head. And he's still running around trying to steal from the black woman to transfer her wealth, her investment in his dumb ass for 500 years. He's still trying to scrape just because they give him a corporate contract. A corporate contract she owns because she's the supremacy clause. Whether they like it or not, she give birth to him, and he the 15th Amendment. So you ain't gonna be no higher than somebody to give birth to you, jackass. You jackass. So you want to be a jackass and puppet, but you need to know your Dracon control, and you're half a man because you're not a whole man. You're not a complete man when you ain't with the black woman. So we don't want your half children, okay? Where the black woman is complete within herself. She holds all seeds of creation. I'm Eve, so I know what my daughters of Jerusalem have, and I know who my people are, and my son is King Yeshua Emmanuel. And you don't want to keep treading my daughters at this point, because you'll go in the dungeon with all them damn heathens you love to lay with. So back in the day, Betty Wright used to have a song out, and it was called Girls. You can't do what the guys do, you know, and still be a lady. But why don't you take it like this? Men, you can't do what the woman see do, no, and still be a covenant heir. You can't do what the woman do, no, and still be a covenant heir. You can't do what the Judah woman do, no, and still be a covenant heir. 'Cause she gave you birth. She gave you birth. She the woman seed. And you want to compare all these mutated later wombs with the womb of creation? Get your nuclear bomb in your brain out of your ass. So the Judah males, the good ones in good standing, in good covenant standing, who held on to their holiness, their jurisdictive power, their supreme contractual power. They are the 15th New Jerusalem wall. They didn't jump the wall into Babylon. These are our soldiers. These are the scepter holders. These are the most powerful men on the planet. And they have to come in line with the 14th Amendment, Black Woman Supremacy Clause, and retrieve President Obama, along with our Ephraim brothers and people of the church, which is the mixed multitudes born from the black woman. We all have to gather to retrieve President Obama from the grip of these incorporate doctrine contractors, Hispanics, gays, hijackers of the Democratic Party, hijackers of the Republican Party, all these scabies in all the government offices. He must be retrieved by loud authority and covenant takeover. It's time. King David says, stand up now. The army of God is on earth. It's time now. Galatians 4 and 5 say it's time to gain governance over your wealth. This is Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.